asking a question later. Also, notice that we're recording this, and this serves as your notice for that. We'll be sharing it later to with the participants and attendees. The formal title of this is the TTN webinar, Spain Tax and Business Developments. We'll be covering basically two topics. There's a lot of new interesting stuff coming out of Spain. So the first is going to be the new startup law, and touching on the nomad visa for remote workers working in Spain. And the second will be the recent changes in the wealth tax in Spain, along with this new tax called Impuesto de Grandes Fortunas. It's also been called a solidarity tax. Our speakers, like I said, are Ricky Gutierrez BECKER and Jordi Lapiedra. A little bit about our speakers. Ricky has a degree in business management and a minor in business analytics from the University of Mount Olive in North Carolina. And a master's degree in Spanish and international tax from ESADE Law School in Barcelona. Ricky has 5 years of experience working as an economist and tax advisor in Gutierrez Pujadas Partners, and he is specialized in international tax. Ricky is also one of the up-and-coming young members of TTN. And Jordi Lapiedra has a degree in business administration in UPF and 2 masters in accounting and taxation. Jordi has 7 years of experience as an accountant and tax advisor, and he specializes in international taxation at the Spanish firm of Gutierrez Pujadas Partners. Again, I want to thank them for their participation. Please, if you want a formal certificate of attendance for this event, for whatever purposes, email Yvonne, who sent you the information about this, and the link. Email her your full formal name and information to get that. If you're interested in, participating in any of the upcoming events or in exploring membership of at TTN, please do contact us as well. And then a little bit of announcements about what we have coming up soon. We will be hosting a TTN webinar on Latin America. We'll have updates from Argentina, Brazil, and Mexico. That will be happening on April 20. And then we will have our Americas conference, in-person conference in Chicago on Friday, May 26. And that's shaping up to be a great conference. We'll have a lot of great speakers from the US, Latin America, and Europe. And we'll be talking a lot about beneficiary disclosure rules around the world. Then we'll have our annual general meeting and conference in Paris in the fall for September 21st, along with our tax course. So to participate in any of these, please contact us. And now, without further ado, and I hope I did not forget anything, please take it away, Jordi and Ricky, and thank you. Oh, one more thing. Just one more thing, sorry. Questions and answers. We'll hold some questions and answers towards the end. If you have questions that you want to submit, please put them in the chat and we'll ask them at the end, or you can raise your hand virtually at the end and you can open your microphone there. We have a comment from someone asking if we're able to hear and see anything. I can hear.
Yeah, we can
Yvonne, it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it must be a local issue there. So I'm not sure what it is, but sorry about that. Okay, that's it. Go ahead, Jordi.
Okay, thank you, Arturo, for the introduction. Well, as he mentioned, in this webinar we will talk about a couple of topics related to new regulations that have been approved recently in Spain. That we think that could affect the tax planning of the individuals, and we believe that understanding them could help to take the right decisions. Also, first of all, we think that it is important to have a clear picture of what being a Spanish tax resident be according to the Spanish law, and there's different criteria, either if you are individual or if you are a company. If you are an individual, the Article 9 of the income tax law says that three criteria where you are considered a tax resident. The first criteria is if you live in Spain for more than 103 days, you are considered tax resident in Spain. Then the second criteria is if you have your economic interest in Spain. That could be if you work from a company in Spain, you have a company in Spain, then you are also considered a tax resident in Spain. And the third criteria, it's an assumption that the tax authorities made. That is, if you have your family living in Spain, your married partner or your child, they could assume that you are also a tax resident in Spain. However, these criteria can be proven differently if you justify that you are actually living in a different country. Usually, the tax authorities will accept tax residency certificate from the country you are living in to prove that you are not tax resident in Spain. But if you are not able to prove that, they will also assume that you are tax resident if your family lives in Spain. Then if you are considered tax resident in Spain, you will be liable for the taxes. Main of taxes that an individual is subject in Spain are the personal income tax, then the wealth tax if you meet certain criteria, and also VAT, inheritance tax, among others. Then there's the companies that Spanish corporation tax law says there's also three criteria in which a company is tax resident in Spain, which is if the company is incorporated in Spain, if its registered address is in Spain, and also if the effective management of the company is made from Spain. That is, if the director or the board of directors mainly control all the activity from Spain, the tax authorities can consider that company is actually residing in Spain and will be liable for the main taxes that the company pays here in Spain, which is the corporate tax, the VAT, among other small and other taxes. Okay, next, we'll talk about focus on a specific tax, which is not one of the most known because not all the people need to file a tax, which is the wealth tax, also known as Impuesto sobre el Patrimonio. This tax has been in place in Spain for several decades now, and it's designed to target the wealthiest individuals in the country with the objective to redistribute and promote the equality and the distribution of the wealth. However, the tax also have criticism from those who argue that this wealth tax, so that this tax discourages the investment and the entrepreneurship of the wealthiest entrepreneurs of other countries, which make them want to invest in other countries rather than okay, sorry. I think I feel that they don't hear me well. Okay. Now I think you can hear me better. Just let me know. Okay, yeah, I believe now they, okay. Let me know if you can hear me well, but I will continue.
Jordi, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you, Pablo. Okay, so I was explaining the general introduction of the wealth tax, and continuing with that, there's the general rule of this tax, which applies to individuals with a net worth of more than 700,000 euros, including on the tax basis the assets such as real estate, stocks, bonds, and cash. The tax rate of the ranges from 0.2% for net worth between 700 to 1 million euros, and gradually increases up to 3.5%. These rates have recently changed into 2021. Before the maximum rate was in 2.5%. Then, when calculating the taxable basis, as I said, there's different assets to be considered. There's some exemptions. which are the primary residence. If the value is less than 300,000 euros, then also the household goods like furniture are not, they don't need to be included in the tax declaration, and also the pension plans also don't need to be included, among other exemptions that can be considered. The tax is levied annually, and its net worth considered by the 21st of December of each year, and it's the tax return is declared the end of the June of the next year. Then there's the cases of the non-resident that are also liable for wealth tax in Spain. By what it's called a real obligation. This means that the non-resident are subject to the tax and assets allocated in Spain, such as real estate that are.
Hey, Jordi.
Yeah?
Jordi, I'm sorry. This is Arturo. This really bad sound. I think it's probably bad echoes in the room you're in. I'm so sorry. I think I'm not the only one that has a hard time following.
Okay.
Maybe we can pause for a second and kind of jump ahead to Ricky, who I know has a little bit of better sound right now, and you can, find a better location. Sorry about that, but I think it's everyone's having a hard time. No.
Okay. So Ricky, if you want to take over, I will take.
Yeah, no problem. I can take over it. Yeah, if you can just jump into to my slides, and then I'll just start, and then I guess you can like move around and see. I think if you put the microphone close to your mouth, maybe we would be able to hear you better. Well, so jumping on to the new startup law that it was implemented in January 2023. Later on, as Arturo mentioned, we'll continue with all the wealth tax and the solidarity tax. So moving on, in January 2023, there was this new law that it was implemented by the Spanish government. And it's a law that it was done basically to attract foreign investors and also foreign talent to come to Spain to make the economy bigger. Basically, this new law, at the beginning of the law, it gives you like a brief definition of what's a startup. It's defined in three criteria, in three requirements. The first one is that the company can be older than 5 years. This company can arise or can come from a merger, a division, or a transformation of operation of companies. Also, this company cannot be listed on a regulated market. The company also can distribute dividends or can have distribute dividends in the past. It needs to be registered in Spain. The home office needs to be in Spain, or in the case of a permanent establishment, it needs to be in Spain. Also, the majority of the workforce, let's say the employees, need to be in Spain with a Spanish employment contract. So at least 60% of the workforce need to be in Spain. And obviously, these type of companies need to have like an innovative character. So there are a lot of benefits for companies, for this type of companies regarding taxes. The main benefit, I would say, is that corporate tax, instead of going to the 25% corporate tax rate that it's usual for corporations here in Spain, it goes from 25 to 15. This 15% tax rate is applied the first 4 years, and it starts once the company has their first benefits. So the first year the company has benefits, then they go with this 15% tax rate, and 4 years on. Another big big advantage or big benefit for this company. It's the tax deferral. They can defer their taxes for the first 2 years. They're starting with the first year they have benefits. Yeah, sorry, Max, I think you need to mute yourself because we can hear you. Okay, thank you so much. Another huge benefit is for foreigners. Foreigners, they can apply to the non-resident tax regime whenever they make an investment and they come here and they are working through this type of companies. They are taxed through the non-resident income tax. This regime that these people will be able to apply, it's very close to the BECKER law. The BECKER law is a tax regime that we'll explain later today in this webinar, and it gives them like a huge advantage. Instead of going with the progressive tax rate that Spanish tax residents need to pay, it's a progressive tax rate that goes from up to 47 or maybe 52%, depending on the region you're living here in Spain. They only pay a 24% flat rate on the incomes they generate here in Spain. So it's a huge benefit. Also, one of the requirements that changed compared to the BECKER law, that instead of being 10 years that they can be resident for the previous 10 years in order to apply to this tax regime, now it changed to 5 years. Another thing in terms of this law is the flexibility in the startup creation process. One of the facilities or the flexibilities that the government gives is regarding the notary fees and also the registry fees, because they have been eliminated for this type of companies if the company is incorporated electronically. Also, it is possible to register this type of company in less than 6 hours. You can register this company in the mercantile registry, rather than if you do it through like a normal or a regular incorporation of a company. It can take up to a week, or maybe depending on the region, maybe it takes longer. And obviously, it gives a lot of facilities and a lot of benefits for investors, because this law is made for people to come and invest and to attract talent. The government has given a lot of tax incentives for investors, hence making it easier for startups to access to huge capital. For example, the maximum deduction base for these operations has increased to 100,000 euros when it used to be only 60,000 euros, and with a deduction rate of 40%. Also, these foreign investors, they will need to apply for the NIE, which is the foreign identification number, whenever they want to come here and invest. So moving along in this new startup law, yeah, Jordi, if you could see, yeah, thank you. Moving along within the new startup law, there's the nomad visa. It's the nomad visa. It's a new residency permit that it was introduced also inside this new law in Spain. It's a residency permit that it was made for people that they want to move here to Spain and work remotely for their companies they are employed outside of Spain, or as if they are freelancers, they can come to Spain and work for their companies abroad. This new visa, it was mainly made for non-EU residents, because as a lot of people may know, EU residents with their EU passports, they can work in the EU for at least 6 months. So yeah, it's paid for non-EU residents. So a lot of people, whenever they come here, they used to come with a non-lucrative visa. this was a type of visa that a lot of people use when they wanted to come to Spain. But one of the disadvantages is that they couldn't work in Spain while they were on this visa. With this, the digital nomad visa, they are able to work. So there are two different ways to apply. The first one is applying whenever you are in your country. You could go to the you can go to the consulate to the Spanish consulate in the country you're living, and then you can apply for the 1-year visa. And then whenever you're already residing here in Spain, you can apply for a 3 or 4-year extension. And then the other way to apply is whenever you're here in Spain, you can come through the tourist visa, and then you apply for a 3-year visa, with an option to extend it 2 more years. So it's a visa that lasts 5 years. Here we have 2 types of people, either employed workers, which their company has allowed them to come and work remotely in Spain, and also self-employed workers that they have several clients outside Spain, and they come and work here. So some of the requirements for these applications. Well, basically the first requirement is that the company that is the company that is employing you, or the company that you are doing work, needs to be from outside of Spain. Also, the incomes that you receive by a Spanish company, they can represent more than 20% of the total incomes you received. You need to demonstrate that you have a business relationship with the company that is employing you, or that you are working with for at least 3 months. You need to show a contract of 1 year. Also, you need to have no criminal records, because they'll ask for a statement, for a declaration of non-criminal records for the last 5 years. One main thing is that you need to hire private health insurance, and also a bank certificate stating that you are able to pay this type of visa, and you can pay the application. One important thing, if you have a contract with a foreign company, it's essential that this agreement is for a year or more than a year, and also the company needs to justify that you can that is allowing you to work remotely, and it needs to justify that you can work remotely in Spain. And if you're a freelancer, you at least need to have one company or one client that it's abroad. So some of the tax benefits with this new nomad visa, as mentioned previously, it's improved by the non-resident tax. Basically, these people are taxed as if they are non-residents. So instead of going to the progressive tax rate, they are taxed at a 24% flat rate for the incomes they generate in Spain. And also, this tax regime lasts for 5 years. It's a tax regime that is very similar to the BECKER law, but the difference is that the company that is hiring you, it's outside of Spain, rather than with the BECKER law, the company or the employment agreement needs to be with the Spanish company. And lastly, can I work in Spain with this new nomad visa? Yes, you can actually work obviously in Spain, and you can work for Spanish companies, but there's a requirement. Only 20% of the incomes you received can come from Spanish companies. And then moving along with this topic, we go with the new tax regime that it's known for a lot of people, which is the BECKER law, and has a lot of similitudes with the tax regime for the nomad visa. Well, this tax regime, it enables foreigners who move to the Spanish territory to pay a flat fee of 24% only on the incomes they obtain in Spain. The difference with the nomad visa is that the BECKER law, it lasts 6 years. So the first year you enter in a country, and then the 5 years after. Also, when you go above the 600,000 euros that you generate here in Spain, if you're able to generate them, obviously, then you go to the progressive tax rate. So after the 600,000, you move to the 45% and upwards, up to 52%, I would say, depending on the region you're living in Spain. And the main requirements is that the expat can have been resident in Spain during the past 10 years, compared to the nomad visa, it's 5 years instead of 10. And the main thing is that the foreigner must have a job contract with a Spanish company and need to be signed by a Spanish company. Also, the directors cannot possess more than 24% of the company. And finally, the core of the workers' professional activities must be in Spain. And basically, that would be my part. So now,
Okay, can you hear me well now?
with Jordi.
Thanks, Ricky.
Yes, I can hear you better now.
Okay, great. Apologies for the bad sound earlier. We go back to our topic. We're explaining a general overview of the wealth tax. We just mentioned that there's liability for non-residents as well, not only for tax residents. And they need to tax. They need to be they need to also pay for the assets located in Spain, like real estate, shares that have in companies located in Spain, and also bank accounts with cash located in Spain. However, there are double taxation treaties with different countries that allows to not making need to pay the wealth tax in certain assets and only pay for the real estate that are actually in the country. Okay, next. There's a comment.
Jordi, I think we're still having trouble hearing you.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I will try to see if I can. Okay. Maybe now with the speaker, the microphone. Okay, so let me pause for a moment, and I will go back in a minute to solve the problem.
Well, in the meantime, maybe we can, are there any questions for Ricky about the startup law and the nomad visa? We can go with that. I can start with one, Ricky.
I have a question.
Okay, yes,
Barbara
please.
here.
Barbara, please go ahead.
Yes, my video stopped, but with regard to the startup law, Ricky said that the company must have an innovative character. Can you give examples of innovative characters?
I think Ricky's helping Jordi with something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're probably dealing with that. So our apologies. Let's give him a minute about that. You know, it's one of those things that happen with these Zoom calls. Sometimes they just technology won't quite help.
John Barrett's leaving a note, and I think he's got a point. Jordi might have to switch his settings according to John.
Yeah, and they're probably trying to figure it out with Ricky and Jordi. Sorry about that, everyone.
Yeah, I'm here with Jordi. I guess you guys can hear us better now.
That's we can hear you really well. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Regarding the wealth tax, Jordi will continue, and then I'll continue with the answers to Barbara's question. And so I'll let Jordi proceed with the wealth tax thing.
Okay. Sorry about that. I think now you can hear me well, and I will finally we'll be able to discuss about the wealth tax. Probably you already read the slide, but here it is. I hope. And then if you have any questions about that, I can go back to that. But as I mentioned, this is the general rule of the wealth tax, but also this tax has the particularity that the autonomous communities can regulate.
No se sé, Jordi.
Can't hear you, Jordi.
Include in these calculations, and also the tax rate. Regarding tax rates, more or less all the communities follow the same structure, and no community has the tax rate higher than what the state said, that it's 3.5, except Extremadura, they are a little bit higher. And regarding the minimum net worth to pay the wealth tax, as you can see on the map, there are different colors, and this it's for you to make an idea of what is the situation currently in Spain. And regions in yellow means that they follow what the general rule says, that it's you have more than 700,000 euros of net worth, you will need to file the wealth tax. The ones in red are the ones that are lower. So in Spain and Extremadura, you file the wealth tax if you have more than 500,000, and in Valencia 600,000, and Aragon 400,000. And the regions in gray are because they are the Basque Country and Navarra. They have their own rules, but they are similar to the general rule. And then there are the special ones that are in green, that are Madrid and Andalusia. Those regions have the particularity that they have 100% allowance on wealth tax, meaning that effectively they don't pay that tax there. And these, as you can see, create a competitive advantage from these communities from the rest, because wealthy people will choose to live in those regions where you don't pay wealth tax. And this is related to the next topic, which is the new solidarity tax on large fortunes. It was approved this December 2022, and as the name says, it's Impuesto Solidario a Grandes Fortunas, and it's a tax that was imposed only to the really wealthy individuals that are the ones that have more than 3 million on net worth. And it's also meant to be only temporarily from the years 2022 and 2023, although could be that the government decides to extend it more years. We'll see about that. The main purpose of this tax is to generate more revenue from taxpayers with a greater economic capacity, to have tackled this inflationary crisis, the energy prices, and help the lower income individuals with the high of cost living. But also it is true that this tax was designed to harmonize the taxation of wealth in Spain. So to avoid that the current little tax havens in Spain, which is Madrid and Andalusia, have a competitive advantage, and to discourage new autonomous communities to regulate and create new allowances. And as I said, this is a central state tax, and there's no differences. And the form that was just approved a few weeks ago, it's the form 718 that will need to be filed between the 1st and 31st of July, which is after the wealth tax is due. This has a reason, is because people that file wealth tax and pay wealth tax won't need to pay again with their solidarity tax. Maybe with an example, we can see that better. So, for example, in Spanish tax resident that lives in Catalonia, they have net assets of 5 million and a main home of 500,000 euros. After applying all the allowances for the main house and the regional rates, they will have a wealth tax liability of 6,300,000 euros. Then we calculate the solidarity tax liability, which is structured similarly to wealth tax. The allowances applied and the valuation of the assets are the same as the wealth tax. Then the tax rates are different. They range from 1.7% to 3.5%, starting from 3 million. So applying all these calculations, the solidarity tax applied to a Catalan tax resident will be approximately 1,700,000 euros. But as you can deduct what you have paid with the wealth tax, at the end, the person living in Catalonia won't effectively pay wealth tax, solidarity tax. So there will be €0 to pay, although he will need to file the tax return. And then the second example, is a Spanish tax resident living in Madrid or Andalusia with the same assets, 5 million and a house. The wealth tax, as we mentioned before, will be exempt 100%. And so they will pay €0 wealth tax. Then they will have to make the solidarity tax, which the same calculation as before, 1,700,000 euros. As they won't be able to deduct any wealth tax because they haven't paid any, they will end up paying the same, what we see, the 1,700,000 euros of solidarity tax. And that way, they will not pay wealth tax, but at least they will contribute. If they have more than 3 million, they will contribute more than before, at least for these 2 years, 2022 and 2023. We'll see afterwards if they change this, they implement it and maintain it, or they stop. Okay, so with that, yeah. If you have any questions, I think we can answer the questions that you made before to Ricky.
Yeah. So yeah, now we're moving along, as Jordi mentioned, to the question part. Again, apologize for all the hearing issues that we had. Moving along to the question that Barbara mentioned regarding the innovative characters of the new startups. So whenever we speak about the innovative character, so it needs to be a company that is developing an innovating entrepreneurship project that has a scalable business model. So it's basically a process that is made to sustainably improve the state of the technique, and it also has a risk of failure. Companies that want to apply to this or make their companies a startup, they need to go to a public company called ENISA, ENISA. And with this company, they need to assess the innovative nature of the business model. So this company will tell them if they apply as a startup or not. I don't know if this solves your question.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Let me see if we have any other questions.
I have one for you, Ricky. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So about the nomad visa, I
Yes.
remember back in the golden visa, I think it was, you needed like a connection to a Spanish company, right? And now you're saying the nomad visa, the sponsor can be a foreign company. Now, can you clarify that? And also, if the nomad themselves, can they own the company that's sponsoring them, so that it would really be an entrepreneur with with their own company doing the whole process?
So the nomad visa is completely different to the golden visa. Basically, the golden visa is a person making an investment of I would say it's around like €500,000, and this investment can be either made as an individual or through a company. Then the nomad visa, this person, if we are talking about people that is being employed by a US company, they can be employed by their own company. So someone can have a company abroad, and this person it's employed by this company. They can come here and be employed by their own company. And then also for freelancers, they can also come here and work for their foreign, invoice their foreign company. But obviously, as I stated during the presentation, there are some requirements that need to be that need to have, such as the employment agreement for the employee, and also the business relationship for the freelancer. Yeah.
Thank you. And then I have another one for Jordi on the new solidarity tax. So if I understand correctly, the wealth tax in places like Madrid, for instance, there's 100% allowance. So essentially, there is no tax.
Yeah.
Now, on the solidarity tax, we don't have that. So for a foreigner that has assets in Spain, that can be quite tricky, right? Because they will now be subject to the tax. And so can you confirm that? And also, the amount that triggers a tax is 3 million. Would someone that has assets of 3 million euros worldwide and then has some of that in Spain, would that trigger it, or it has to be 3 million of assets taxable in Spain?
So as it happens with the wealth tax, you are liable if you are tax resident in Spain for your worldwide assets. So if you are a tax resident, you will be liable for the solidarity tax for the assets you have in Spain and also in worldwide. In the trigger assets, the trigger amount is 3 million. Although in the practice, it won't be until you have 4 millions, because you can, if you have a house, because you can deduct the 300,000 of the house and also 700,000 more as a basic allowance for the solidarity tax. So in practice, if you have 4 million, it's when you start paying solidarity tax. I don't know if you...
Jordi?
Yes.
Jordi, the solidarity tax is also for non-residents, isn't it?
Correct.
Correct, yes. And
If
then it
they have-
depends on...
if they have assets in Spain.
Yeah, but that depends on the tax treaty, yeah? If they have to pay only over their house or also over their bank account and...
Correct.
Yeah, correct, huh? So you
Right,
have to check.
Yeah, that
Yes,
depends
please.
on the tax treaty within the country. If they only pay for the real estate, the properties, or also for the bank accounts and the shares they have in Spain. See, it's the same structure as the wealth tax.
Yes, yes. Okay, thank you so much.
So in that
I have-
scenario where you have a non-resident, I'm sorry, just let me just finish this one. That scenario with that non-resident that has assets in Spain,
Correct.
is the 3 million for the Spain assets or worldwide assets?
Yeah, that will be only for the 3 million in Spain assets. So the real obligation only makes you pay for what you have in Spain if you are non-resident.
Okay, sorry, who was
Hello,
answering
this
it?
is Anna. I have a question for Jordi, please. Jordi, in the wealth tax, if your assets are over 2 million euros, despite the fee you have to pay, there is the obligation to submit the model form.
Correct.
Does it happen the same with the solidarity tax? if the clients have assets for over 3 million, despite they have, for example, mortgage or loans to lower the net value of the assets, do they still have to submit the tax?
So the obligation of filing the tax, it's when you have more than 3 million net worth. So that will be if you include the assets and also the mortgages and the liabilities. So if the sum of these two is more than 3 million, it's when you need to file the tax.
Yeah, but what if, imagine in the example you showed us before in the Madrid, not in the Madrid, in the Catalonia example,
Right.
the fee to pay to for solidarity tax was 0 because he had
Correct.
already paid wealth tax. But does the taxpayer still have to submit
Yes,
the form with zero euros to pay?
Correct. So they will have to file the tax because when you make the calculation, you have more than 3 million assets, but you have to include the allowance of the wealth tax already paid, and you paid 0, but you still have the obligation to file the form.
Clear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Is there anyone else on the chat or that wants to ask any questions to Jordi or Ricky?
Yeah, Jordi, it's Jean-Philippe. Hello. If I get this nomad visa, am I also subject to the solidarity tax? If I have more than 3 million?
Yeah, if you get the nomad visa and then you apply for the BECKER law, you will be considered as non-resident and for tax purposes. So you will be only liable for the solidarity tax if you have more than 3 million of assets in Spain, not worldwide.
Thank you.
You're considered as a non-resident, yeah.
Very clear.
You're welcome.
I have another question, Jordi, if possible. With regards to the wealth tax of non-residents, sometimes we apply the national scale because it is better for the client rather than the scale on the Comunidad Autónoma. How does it work here with regards to the solidarity tax? What if if we apply one of the rules, then how it goes with the other?
So the solidarity tax, as I mentioned, it's state regulated, so there's no differences between comunidades autónomas. So you will pay or you will declare the same even if you are in Madrid or in Catalonia. Then you will be able to deduct the wealth tax you've paid using the state laws or the Comunidad Autónoma's law, if there's any.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so if there are more questions.
I have one more, Jordi. I've heard some practitioners have opinions that, this solidarity tax is not very solid constitutional grounds and that they're going to challenge it and they think that it might be successful. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, at the end, this tax is, as well as the wealth tax, it's argued that it's also, it can be arguable, but at the end, it's been a lot of years that the wealth taxes have been implemented and they haven't removed. So the solidarity tax, we'll see what happens. In the end, they make this rule that you can deduct the wealth tax, so you don't pay double. And also it's a temporary tax, so yeah, it could be possible that they remove it or something, but we'll have to see on that.
Interesting. Okay, thank you. Very good. Any more questions?
Yeah, and again, if there are like any additional questions that arise later today, I mean, here you have our contact details. Just feel free to contact us if any additional questions arise, and we'll be more than glad to answer them.
Very good. Well, in closing, let me just thank Ricky and Jordi again. Thank all the attendees. Apologies again about the technical issues. Sometimes these things happen. But you got their contact information there if you have anything, and join us in future TTN events. Reach out to us if you have you want any information, if you want to be included in the invitations when they go out. And I think that's it for today. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you very much.